Hi, everybody. This is Donna Freeman. I'm the founder of Kids Yoga Academy and Yoga in My School, and I'm here today live with Bari Koral. She is an amazing kids yoga musician, and she's here today to share with us some of her music and the process and the creativity that goes into producing amazing tools that you can use in your kids yoga classes in your home, in your classroom, and all that type of amazing stuff. Welcome, Bari. How are you?
you know, in America. It's a tough few days, but I have renewed my commitment to supporting children and teachers through music and yoga. Let's just put it that way. Not that I
Oh,
needed that, but I am like on fire now with my own mission. So, well, I'm sure
fabulous.
many of you are. So,
So
it's
I
definitely
first
a movement. Yeah.
Yeah, I first learned about you by surfing the internet way back. I think it was in 2009 when I was publishing my book and starting my yoga in my school online presence. And I was looking up everybody who was doing kids yoga. And what do I come across on YouTube but the Sundance. And I was like, who is this lady? So tell us a little bit about how you started working with kids in yoga and kind of what your background is.
Well, it's actually pretty funny because that was the first song I wrote for kids yoga, but I started out as an adult singer-songwriter and then actually had like panic attacks and anxiety as I was like trying to narrow the gap between me and Carole King, which was like very difficult to do. And, my ex-boyfriend discovered Nora Jones and I had a lot of like agita about all of that. And anyway, through the anxiety and the panic, and when we suffer, sometimes that's where all the light is. I got introduced to yoga and meditation. So I started I took a teacher training just to more for my own practice, to get better at it. But then I was like, well, this is fun. Like maybe I'll make a little side money and I'll be a teacher. So I actually became I wanted to be a yoga teacher for JetBlue. And that took a while, but basically I had a panic attack on their flight and whatever. And they really helped me. And I was like, I'm going to like learn these tools. I'm going to help you. So that was all sort of happening. And then I transitioned to writing songs for children when my niece was born, and I was like obsessed with her. And so I started kind of similar melodies, but just more tuned into what she was doing. So I was doing like I went from the adult singer songwriter to children, and working with her. And then I was teaching yoga, and I was like had this thing with JetBlue where I was so paranoid that they were going to Google me and find out that I was like singing songs for children because that was starting to like happen. Like I got a bit of a record
Mhm.
deal and I was getting some gigs and I was like very nervous and I kept it all really apart. Like if you went to my music website, there was like this teeny little sign that said like yoga, to find out of me as a yoga teacher. And then I met Ava from Yama Talent, who represents a lot of well-known
Mhm.
yoga teachers. She really helped inspire me. We just put it all together. And my first gig for kids with yoga and music was at the White House. So that was like
Oh,
amazing. I had already started, I had learned from a lot of kids musicians that a lot of them were in the classrooms to make money and to work and to find more about child development. So I was actually hired by the same woman who hired Lori Berkner. And I worked in Lori's playground for 7 years, 8 years with 1,000 children a week. And I was like, well, I love Lori and she's great at music and movement, but she doesn't or seem to bring as much of the yoga element to it. And again, we're all a combination of our unique influences. And I thought, well, I'd like to sort of do what Lori's doing for movement with yoga, but then a little bit more of my pop rock background of, Carole King and Sheryl Crow. And, like, is it possible that this could all actually come together? And it kind of did, and it has. The Sundance was a little bit more. I mean, that song works. Is it my like favorite song that I've ever written? Does it sound like a Who song? No. I mean, not that Yoga wants to sound like the Who, but you know what I mean. Um, but it works. But it was funny. I just was still on the road as an adult singer songwriter when I wrote that song. I was in like Green Bay, Wisconsin, thinking like, is there a song that leads kids through the sun salutations? I'm not sure. I didn't really know Kira at the time or anything, and I just recorded it. I put it up on YouTube that I want to make a video on Craigslist. Someone said, yeah, I'll make a video with you. And then that video has had like over 1 million hits. And it's ironic because a lot of people have found all my other music through that song.
mhm.
And, if that's a business card, that's okay, because it does work. But there's, I have come way, I'm very proud of the songs that I've written since then, and many, many teachers are using them. And again, it's my own little movement. So happy about
For
that.
sure. Yeah, since then you came out with Anna and the Cupcakes in 2012, that album, and The Apple Tree and the Honeybee in 2014. And both of those have some yoga tracks and some other tracks. It's kind of like a mix. And
Yeah, like
then
more for parents and listening with kids. Yeah.
mhm, right? So there's some movement. There's, they're beautiful songs. I use them all the time, just so you know, and I promote them in all of my trainings. So if you come to a
Yeah.
yoga in my school teacher training, we will listen to your music. And then this year, you came out with this sweet little one, a little
Little
box of
box of
happy.
happy. Yeah.
Can you tell us
Yeah.
a little bit about how this one is different than what you've done before?
Every year, first we actually started with Rock and Roll Garden, which is it's been a popular
Mm.
album of mine with a lot of parents. And there were some movement songs on there, pop, where they pop like popcorn, boom, boom, things like that. And then I stepped it up with Anna and the Cupcakes, and I did, some more like Rocket Ship I was specifically
Mhm.
thinking now about kids yoga and Let's Get Together. And I was still trying to serve both. Like I wanted you to be a parent that can really listen to this record in the car, yet at the same time, I wanted you to be able to bring this into the classroom, because I was in the classroom with 1,000 kids. I knew what they were like, and what they could, what they can do, and what they could be successful at, and what they could learn, and all different age groups. But at the same time, I was still doing a lot of concerts, and I was very aware of the parents and their listening habits. So again, I was trying to serve both, and that went well. Then with Apple Tree and the Honeybee, the record that came after that, I went even more into the kids yoga. Every record has more. So those have been some major songs like the bear song,
Mhm.
and the turning from a seed into a tree at the apple tree
Mhm.
song. Ponies in the barn has been like my Hey Jude, where they sleep like a pony in the barn, and Downward Dog, and they wake up and see other animals. And there's so many songs on there. Even the bee song is like a great lesson in self-regulation. It's very quiet, and then the bee comes and they're all out. But even the message is like, you still like the bee, you just don't want the bee to follow you. It's very friendly. But then I was like, you know what? I am just really going to make a kids yoga record. Like this is, forget like trying to win a Grammy and like, all that stuff. I mean, I was like, you could kiss your kids yoga Grammy goodbye. A lot of my friends have won Grammys or been nominated. I've definitely been aligned with some of that energy, but I was like, no, I'm really going straight to the schools. This is like 16 tracks full up,
Mhm.
and it was there was a sign. Like I wasn't sure after I did Apple Tree. I was so proud of that record, and I
Mhm.
was like, do I have anything else to say? And so many teachers were using those songs. I'm like, how many kid songs do you need? Like I wasn't sure what to do next. And I actually I was in a stationery store, and I saw a piece of stationery that said Little Box of Happy. And
Oh.
I thought, well, I want that. Like, I want to have a little box of happy. That's beautiful. I think teachers would love that, and I would love that. But what is it? And it was like from there, the project was born. What about 16 tracks that teach kids, the love of yoga and music with a full color poster? Like, why,
Mhm.
and why don't I finally do some relaxation tracks? Because that was one of the epiphanies of meeting people like Shakta. So, like, Shakta came into my life a year or two ago, and she came to see me because she knew that I was having an impact. I had the TV show Yoga Palooza, and sometimes I was playing for like 1,000 kids at a time. And at the same time, when I have the TV show too, there's certainly that thought that's like, why me? You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
do I know enough? And am I being of service enough? And I wanted to check in with other people. When we did Yoga Palooza, I didn't know Lisa Flynn, and I checked in with her. I checked in with you. I said, can I
Yeah.
have this little like board of advisors? I want to make sure that I'm serving okay. And Shakta came along with that, offering me tools, and further training as well. I mean, I have a lot of training for my own body and my own, I was in a Zen monastery for a month. I mean, I've been on a long journey to try to heal my own body and my own nervous system. But anyway, she really helped come in as like another set of eyes and ears, and that really helped me. And one thing that came from that work was I used to do a lot of creative relaxation in my classroom. So we would do these songs, and then we would always come down. but those were never on my record. So I wasn't teaching other teachers to do that. I was only teaching that if I was in front of you doing a training, but if you just bought my record. So that came out of that, putting the relaxation tracks on there. I worked with Lisa Donahue, who was one of her senior teachers. And Lisa actually wrote one of the tracks for me. I love her. She's such a
Oh,
gift.
cool.
And then also, having the choice of like doing Fly Like a Butterfly, or a few of these other songs where you could sort of build your class. Like, I want to warm up, I want to come down. I always looked at my songs as a bit of like a main theme. You work towards something. You teach downward dog. You teach right angle handstand. You do this, and then you teach my pony song, or you teach tree, and you teach boat, and you teach slide, and you teach chair, and then you do my bear song. With Shakta and working with her, I added more colors, more warm up, more coming down, like I said, more relaxation. So it's a more complete box of happy, I guess, too, So that was the long answer to your question, but yes.
No, it's all good. Yeah, I really like in Little Box of Happy that you've redone a couple of Shakta's classic songs, right? Happiness Runs and Fly Like a Butterfly, which I think are like standards in the kids yoga world just because of the influence that Shakta Khalsa and that she's had over the years. Many people have been trained through Radiant Child Yoga. And we thank her for her generosity and her wisdom in sharing those. And I know that at the most recent National Kids Yoga Conference that you had an opportunity to sing with Shakta, Happiness Runs, and to show everyone that. Can you tell us about how that kind of feels?
Yeah, well, before I recorded the record, Shakta and I have been talking and getting to know each other more and more. And before I recorded the record, I actually went to DC and I sat with her in her living room with Lisa. And I said, well, this is what I'm intending to record. Let me go over my own songs first. Are they serving everybody? Is this right? And she was very excited, particularly excited about the Yoga Alphabet and some of the other songs, And then because we're all like, we can't all do everything. Shakta's an amazing artist and gift, and she's not necessarily a recording artist. And I thought, what about maybe this would be a fresh time to do like a fresh take on Fly Like a Butterfly or something like that. Also, why not expand it? In my own classes and other teachers too. Let's twist like a butterfly. Let's roll like, because it's so quick and children really like it. How do we expand a little? So we talked about that, and I came up with that additional melody when I was in Lisa Donahue's kitchen. That was one thing, like walking down the stairs, it was there, and I was like, what do you think of this? Twist like a butterfly. She's like, I love it, but the process of having to be able to check in with somebody, like the grandmother of kids yoga, so to say, that itself was a huge gift. So with her blessing, I re-recorded Fly Like a Butterfly, and with her blessing, we did Happiness, because the one thing about Shakta and I are, while she serves a lot of kids yoga teachers, and I do too on some level, not as many as Shakta, but quite a few, I also serve so many teachers that are not kids yoga teachers per se, that are just regular classroom teachers. And that's been something I've spent a lot of time with, giving them tools. So Shakta and I become cousins in the sense of like, you want to learn a little bit about yoga, come to me, use my tools, and I will train you. And then do you want to learn a lot? Go to Shakta. And it's been very nice for me to have this relationship to maybe inspire some of these teachers to become our community, So because, again, like I said, sometimes I'm in front of like 1,000 teachers at a time. It is you just want to make sure that you're serving and you're giving them as much resources as you can. So that's how that's evolving. Yeah.
Fabulous. Well, I would like to invite you to sing us one of your songs from your newest little box of happy. Which one would you like to share with us first? You're going to have a community share a couple, but
yeah. Well, why don't we do the Yoga Alphabet? It's funny you asked me if it was hard to do that, but I said sometimes you write 10 songs and you get one for free. And I don't know, this one just came on my way to Rockefeller where I was teaching, and it's simple, but it really works. And it's nice to have something that could get the young children all involved. at once. Also, as Shakta says, music creates that magical discipline in a classroom. And when you have the right music that is developmentally appropriate to children and they love it, you have everybody. All right, so let me get to my mark. La 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 la. All right, so I'll show you how this works. I also do encourage, you can definitely play the record, but if people can sing, it's fun to sing themselves. So A, you're an apple, B, a banana, C, you're a cat, and D, downward dog, meow. E, you're an egg, that would be child's pose. And F is a forward bend. G, that feels good. H, I, roll up, say hi, hi. J is a jump, and K is a kick. L is a lunge, let's make it stick. Ha! N, say namaste. O is an ostrich, head in the hole. P is the time to pick your pose. I didn't do tweet pose today. Q, R, a snake with me. T, you're a T-Rex, hear me roar. So you can do lunge on the other side. You make a V 'cause you're so strong. W, we're in a chair. Extra special, why it's true. We got to Z, me and you. Ta-da.
Yay! That's awesome. I love that song. And I have a workshop that is for preschoolers and special needs, and we talk about literacy, and it works so well. And I must tell you that since I've got my hands on this a month ago, that I've been definitely using it a lot. So thank you very much.
That makes me so happy. That's awesome. One of my other favorites is, again, simple, but we were doing bats a lot in my classroom, hanging upside down like bats. And I'd love to do that with legs up the wall or right angle handstand, which they can start to do at about 2, actually 2.5, and hold themselves up with their hands. So we have a video that we just made for that, and that's going to be out soon. And I'm super excited about that. But I was noticing the kids all gaining arm strength. It was awesome at that young age, like adding some tone. And it was also just very impressive when someone walks in and you see kids in handstands and you're like, oh my goodness, but they can do it, and it's an investment. I mean, I was just so excited, but yeah, I like to point to people to that track.
Yeah. Well, and I like how what you're saying is you're challenging kids, but it's something that's very doable for them. And then people are impressed, like, really? You're teaching little ones how to do, basically a handstand, but it's, it's in a supportive, safe way. And I get that question a lot, like, what's a safe practice? And is it safe for kids to do this or that? It's like, yeah, they can do a lot as long as, you're doing it appropriately, progressively, and all that kind of stuff. So bats, and of course with Halloween, it's like just a beautiful thing that comes together.
Now, I noticed that, first of all, you notice the kids doing this naturally anyway, it's not uncommon that they're starting to crawl up the wall and, but once you show them, and we talk about safety and stuff, and first of all, they never fall out because they can only step up, they can only go as far as their arms can take them. So if their arms can't take them, they won't get there, but they don't have far to go. If they have to, if their legs come down, it's not like, but I just noticed that they just naturally like to climb up the wall now and work on their handstand. It's just something that they just feel very good doing, or they like to just put their legs up in, legs up the wall as well. Like they gravitate towards that without me having to, you introduce the idea and then they know what feels good in their own body, what they like to do, but I mean, most of my songs are very basic poses, but it's nice to offer something that's a little bit more intriguing like that as well. So. Yeah.
All right. So on Little Box of Happy, some of the tunes are kind of reinventions of similar melodies, right? So the Dragon Hunt is, going on a dragon
hunt, my friend. Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so a lot of people are familiar with going on a lion hunt or going on a bear hunt or that type of thing. And here you've added that dragon element. Can you tell us a little bit about how you go about the process of changing a familiar, well-loved song to something that suits what you're looking for yoga and mindfulness?
I was always on the lookout. I wrote a lot of my own songs, but then I was on the lookout for like, what else do I need, or what else do they respond to? So the Dragon Hunt was a perfect example. My friend Susie wrote that song. Susie Shelton, she's a well-known kids musician in New York, and she was in a band called the Imagination Workshop. But her version was a little bit more basic. It wasn't a yoga version necessarily. They went up a tree and they went up a bridge, but there wasn't time to sort of get into those poses really and think about that. My kids wanted to do that song day in and day out. It was like 5 minutes and they wanted to do it constantly. And I have to say, sometimes when you're like not sure what you're going to teach, you're just like put on the Dragon Hunt, because it's again, magic discipline, 150%. You have one child who's like screaming in the corner, whatever, but just not really, and then they learn not to be afraid. That in itself is an amazing lesson. Self-regulation, that child starts to learn that she doesn't ever need to be afraid of. That huge. I've seen that. But for the most part, they are obsessed. They want to do it all the time. And I guess I felt I was sort of like, I don't want to say copping out because I didn't feel like the version that I had was challenging enough for them. I really wanted, I'm like, if we're going to do this all the freaking time, we're going to learn some yoga. So I extended those, sections about tree pose and forests of trees so that it gives the teacher some time if they want to do partners or a big circle of trees. I extended the boats so that it really kept them in boats for a long time. And then I paddled so that they got into their obliques. I extended bridge so that we would spend some time getting into our bridges and rolling out. I extended just going to a dragon. What does he look like? Stretching the optical nerve, smelling the dragon, mindfulness, being aware before we go. And then importantly, I put in the relaxation track after the dragon relaxation. So again, you're going on this exciting journey with them. You're learning some yoga, but then you're coming right back down. And I always did that in my classes. We would breathe like a big dragon and they would come down. And then they would, first of all, they would breathe like a big dragon and they would be excited. But then we would breathe like a baby dragon. Everybody came down. And another thing that Shakta really drilled into my head was the breathing at the end of every song. It's like that is how they know. First of all, not only does it regulate them, of course, and all the benefits that we know about, but in addition to that, they know that that song is over and that lesson is over and we're about to do something else. It signals an ending, very important with special needs, but any child. So that's the way that I would naturally do things like that. Or my friend Ellen Allard wrote the Down by the Ocean, which I loved, and I used that for my Spring Arts Festival. But because I could play guitar, I changed all her verses and I made them to be poses, crab snapping. Hers was more about singing. I was like, well, no, let's make this about movement. Crab snapping, starfish sunning, which could be a partner pose. Big whale, which could be that flying dog. There's a photo of that, to make it more of a partner yoga song. So it was like, because I was a songwriter, I could take the songs and I could rework them as the way I wanted to. And I recorded my versions of them, which I knew that they loved. So I didn't want to just start writing songs to write them. If there was a song that already worked, I wanted to, that it was a good adaptation. But this is a new space for me because normally I've written everything, and again, like I was sort of like, how many songs, you know what I mean? I already written, like, I don't need another song about a seed becoming a tree. I already did that, I didn't want to like repeat myself. And so these complemented what I had.
All right. Can you give us another lovely taste of what people can find on a little?
Yeah, let's do happiness. This song Donovan wrote, and then Shakta did the celestial communication. And I love this so much. And also not everybody knows the hand movements. So let's do this. And children love this song so much. Hopefully you can see me.
Happiness runs in a circular motion. Life is like a little boat upon the sea. Everyone is a part of everything anyway. You can have it all when you let yourself be. Why, oh, because. Why, oh, because. Why, oh, because. Why, oh, because. Happiness runs in a circular motion. Life is like a little boat upon the runs in a circular motion. Life is like a little boat upon the sea. Everyone is a part of everything, and you can have it all when you let yourself be. Why all because? Why all because? Why all because? Why all because?
Yay!
Why? Because everything is here supporting us. You know, the universe is a friendly place. It's all around us. You have it all when you let yourself be. That's such a beautiful message. And children love, 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 love that song. And I just wanted to serve it and make a
Yep.
really nice version of it and get it out there to my community as well.
Fabulous. Thank you. So another thing in this album, which is a little bit different from what you've done before, is this insert, this little poster. So I'm just going to kind of hold it up so people can see. So it's like tons of yoga, double-sided.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, like the Down by the Ocean song I was saying, you know, like, I don't know if you could see, but then you see crab pose and you see how I do my starfish pose, and then you could see how you can do a partnership pose here, you know, things like that, but just companion poster.
Yeah, and I think that's really helpful, like you say, for a lot of non-yoga people who are using this music and they're like, oh, I love this, but I don't really know quite what to do. And then you've given them those visuals to really support them in their practice and making it so accessible.
Yeah, or even just another kids yoga teacher. You know, what does Bari do for cow? What does she do for bats? What does she, and just like a quick, oh, okay, I see what she's doing. Yeah.
Yeah, I must admit, I always do that. I always look what people are doing. It's like, oh, okay, so she's calling that whale pose. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
all right. So as soon as I got this,
calling that ostrich. I got it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Totally.
Because some people kind of get stuck. Is like, oh my goodness, there's not an ostrich pose.
Yeah.
Now what do I do? It's like, no.
Yeah, that's why I just did the forward bend with the head down, because the ostrich like getting food from the ground or searching.
No, it totally makes sense, but it's always interesting to see people's creative outlet with the renaming of poses as we do in kids yoga, but we're pretty open about that kind of stuff.
I feel like we always need permission for that, but like, go ahead.
Yeah,
when you
exactly.
know what you're doing. Totally.
Awesome. So as people are beginning to find your work and, maybe they find, the Sundance song or the Dancing Bear, or maybe they just find this and they're looking for more information about you and about your work. Where can people go to find out more about that?
Well, I definitely, have a lot on my website, barikoral.com. And then I have quite a bit on my YouTube page. Not every song, but quite a few. And now we will have that new animation for bats, which I'm super thrilled about. So those would probably be the best places, And then to buy the album, it's freaking hilariously affordable. That's the other thing, when you spend the money for the posters and stuff, doesn't mean you can charge $20 on Amazon. Amazon still sells it for $11, $12. That's just what it is, So, or $9.99 for a download. But when you buy the actual album on Amazon, you do get a free download, and I think they're just giving them away, in my opinion. But that's okay, because these albums, it's like making it's like buying a car. You're spending a lot of money to record your music and package your music, and but that's okay. So iTunes, so those would be the hot spots.
Fabulous. And you're on social media. People can follow you and all of your lovely.
Facebook. I have these 2 pages, but I like my personal Bari page, friend me. That's where I'm the most active. But I have the band page, the public Bari Koral figure as well. So. Yeah.
Fabulous. Yeah. Well, thank you very much. Do you have one more song that you would like to share with us before we head off?
Sure. Which would be well, it's just more like seeing my body, I'd love to do like Ponies in the Barn or something like that. Those are just such big ones. But here, let me show you something else. This one's just cute. It's not necessarily a yoga song, but it's just a really popular song. They love it, and then they cross the midline. So a lot of it's fun to just show teachers and to teach them how to sing it. I usually have a little puppet, and singing is yoga.
I have a dog, his name is Rex. He eats so much that his belly sags. His ears flip-flop, his tail wig wags. And when he moves, he zigs and zags. He goes flip-flop, wig wag, zigzag. Flip-flop, wig wag, zigzag. My little dog, he likes to play. He rolls outside in the grass all day. And when I call, he won't obey. He always runs the other way. He goes flip-flop, wig wag, zigzag. Flip-flop, wig wag, zigzag.
And then I would just try to get them in time with the music, listening, or shaking, or downward dog, or sky's the limit.
I have a dog, his name is Rex. He eats so much that his belly sags. His ears flip-flop, his tail wig wags. And when he moves, he zigs and zags. He goes flip-flop, wig wag, zigzag. Flip-flop, wig wag, zigzag. Flip-flop, wig wag, zigzag. Flip-flop, wig wag, zigzag.
Perfect. Lovely. Fun. Thank you so much, Bari. I so appreciate your enthusiasm, your expertise, your insight, and for sharing part of your creative process, the background of music, because there's a whole lot more that goes into producing this than simply having this in my hand. And I appreciate you sharing and giving us a little bit of the background.
I appreciate everything you're doing too. I mean, all these leaders in the field like you, and we need them. We need them now more than ever.
All right. We will trust in the process and offer up all of our love to children everywhere, to parents and teachers, give them the tools that they can support their children so they can self-regulate and be their very, very best.
Sounds good.
All right. Namaste, sweetheart. Take care of yourself.
Bye.